15th year here. I've been on this committee for 13 years, and I inherited a district that is really heavy in this bill, and I know that. I represent Oak Ridge, Tennessee. The committee has been incredibly good through the years to recognize the needed investments in science, energy research, national security, and environmental management, and yet again this conference report recognizes those critical priorities on behalf of our country, and I'm grateful for that. But much like Paul Revere, I've come to the committee, the subcommittee, the House again today to say we have a huge problem at the Chickamauga Lock on the Tennessee River. We began construction of the replacement lock a few years ago. The cofferdam is complete. Inside this cofferdam, we will dry out the Tennessee River in the next few months to test that the cofferdam works. The cofferdam is about the size of this entire building, the Capitol building, in the middle of the Tennessee River. We're ready now to begin pouring the foundations in the middle of the river to replace the lock. The current lock will close. I just had the briefing today from the Corps. Yesterday at the conference committee closing this out, and I signed the conference report, I offered an amendment to put language and up to $14 million in the bill to make sure we can move the project forward. It failed on a 10-8 vote. I appreciate Lincoln Davis, the only member of the majority, for voting yes. Everyone in the minority voted yes. This is a critical problem. I say to the administration, you only made a $1 million funding request. It's not sufficient to move it along. The current lock will close. The Corps just briefed us again today. They cannot keep it open. It will be the largest inland waterway system in the history of our country to close. The current lock was set to close in 2014. We're not building the lock yet. We've prepared. The cofferdam is complete. Kentucky Lock only got $1 million, but their stimulus money allows them to start construction. We could not. I made this case at the subcommittee, the full committee. On the House floor, Mr. Pastor helped us. We put $14 million in, and just like happens in this place, somehow by the time we got to the conference meeting, it was taken back out. We tried to restore it yesterday. Change of support. Went down virtual party lines. I'm telling you, we got a problem. We need help. And it's not me. It's the entire eastern system. It's the largest inland waterway system in the country. It is going to close. We've got to do something. Please, to the committee, to the Senate, to the House, both parties, administration, when there's an emergency supplemental, let's get together ahead of time, fix the Inland Waterway Trust Fund problem. This is a crisis for all the inland waterway system, and the first big failure will be Chick-Lock, unless we exert the leadership that we're elected to do. It's a can that's been kicked down the road too long. I plead with you on behalf of the constituents, not just in my district, not just my state, but in the entire eastern part of our country. From Peoria to South Georgia, you will have truckloads of cargo and goods, 150,000 a year added 18-wheelers to carry the cargo that currently goes through this lock, and it is about to close because we're not doing our job. That's the truth. And I hate it, and I've done my best, but I am only one. I need help. Our people need help. Our country needs help. We need leadership. Let's keep the Chickamauga Lock open. If there's an emergency supplemental that moves, we need to step up and fix this problem before the 2011 cycle. I'm going to do everything I can. I've been here long enough to know how to cooperate, how to get it done, and sometimes how to keep the trains from going any further until the right things are done. That's not a warning. I need your help. That's a plea. Thank you, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back the balance of his time. The gentleman from Arizona.
Mr. Chairman, this is the first time I've done this bill, and I have to tell you that one of the lessons I learned is that the inland waterways is of great value to our country, and we have not paid enough attention to it. So I would agree with my colleague that it's a problem that we need to solve. The Inland Waterway Trust Fund is the vehicle which would construct and maintain these locks. But at this point, we haven't been able to solve that problem. And the gentleman is right. We did help him here in the House when we passed this bill, but I have to tell him with great regret that in the conference we found very little support from the Senate in this particular lock, and in working out the conference bill, we had to go back to the $1 million. At this moment, I'd like to yield 3 minutes to my colleague from Texas, Mr. Edwards.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized.